Hello, everybody. This is Jack Hammer of the Santa Rosa Press Democrat. Hope you're all doing well on this great Wednesday night, getting ready for the big NFL draft, which takes place tomorrow, round one, and then we get rounds 2 and 3 on Friday, followed up by the rest of the draft, 4 through 7, coming up on Saturday. So, I wanted to get you going on that. Do my mock draft. I haven't done one of those for a while, so I've actually done one by myself. I did one a few weeks ago with Rob Shue. So I want to go in here and do my own really quick, get this out to you real quick before we get started. Raphael 5629ers says, "What's up, Jack and everyone?" Hey, Raphael, good to have you on. Maximiliano says, "Hi, Jack." Hey, Max, how you doing? And then we have Lukey coming in, says, "Happy Wednesday." Yes, it's a good Wednesday today. Hump day, get over the hump. Tomorrow, the big draft. And then we're going to start off here. The one other question that we have is from Thomas Pritchard. He says, "Do you think Debo will get traded before tomorrow?" And then we're going to get right to that with this mock draft. And the answer to that is no, but there will be a big trade that's going to give the 49ers a pick in round number 1. So let's get right to it. So what's going to happen, the way that I see this, the 49ers are going to see the board falling to them. And right before pick number 20, they're going to go ahead and they're going to pull the trigger. They're going to make a move and they're going to make a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The 49ers jump into round number 1 with a trade with for the Steelers pick number 20. The 49ers are going to give up pick number 61. They're picking the second round, along with Jimmy Garoppolo, to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for pick number 20. And at pick number 20, the reason that the 49ers make that move and they're able to get that is they're going to go out and get Tyler Linderbaum, center from Iowa. Linderbaum has played 35 games for Iowa over the last 3 years. During that time, he's played 35 games, 2 sacks, 6 hits, and only 11 quarterback hurries. So the 49ers, with pick number 20 in the first round, select Tyler Linderbaum. And that's after a trade of Jimmy Garoppolo to Pittsburgh. Along to pick up that pick number 20 from Pittsburgh, the 49ers give up Jimmy Garoppolo and pick number 61. So now the 49ers have a little ways to go. They see the board kind of falling to them still. And then we get to round number 3 with that trade of 61. The 49ers have a long way to go before they get to their spot comes up at 93. When it gets there, they decide that they're going to move back. And the 49ers trade their pick at 93 to the Cincinnati Bengals in return for pick number 95 and 174. So by trading back only 2 spots, the 49ers are able to gain another selection in round 5 at pick number 174. At number 1, and so that leaves the 49ers at 95. When pick 95 comes up, the 49ers decide to go with an edge rusher. And they select from Western Kentucky edge rusher D'Angelo Malone. Malone comes in. He's a bit of a one-trick pony, is Malone. He's definitely a high-end pass rusher. Put up big numbers there for Western Kentucky during his time with the Hilltoppers. Just looking at his numbers, if you look through what he did, he's 6'4", 243. Good size. He kind of is the same, in a similar size to what the 49ers have been doing, opposite of Nick Bosa all along, in Samson Ebukam and Kemoko Turay, 2 other edge rushers that the 49ers have. But with this pick, they're able to get a guy there that's going to be a little bit more long-term. And the nice piece, what I like about Malone, he's explosive. And in his 3 years with Western Kentucky, he has racked up a total of 27 sacks. And along with those 27 sacks, he also has 27 quarterback hits. And his quarterback hurries is close to 75. It looks like it's 71. So 71 quarterback hurries in 3 seasons with Western Kentucky. All pretty much as an outside pass rusher coming off the edge. So that gives you that speed. That's kind of like a D forward kind of a speed guy off the edge. And I see some questions in there. So does that mean that they cut Samson Ebukam? That would be the direction that I would see this headed. If they were able to get Malone in, they get that speed rusher off the edge. There's no need to have Ebukam, especially when you already have Kemoko Turay. When the trade for Turay went down, or not the trade, excuse me, but the signing of Toure went down a couple of weeks ago. I mentioned that I think that that might spell the end of the time for Samson Ebukam in San Francisco. The 49ers can save about $5.5 million by moving off of him this offseason. So that makes sense there for me. I think that's a good move. Really quick, going back to the Jimmy G trade to Pittsburgh that went down. Let's see. Red asks, where do you get the Jimmy G trade to Pittsburgh? The Steelers have been interested in Jimmy Garoppolo. There was a rumor that came up recently that this would be a possibility of going down. I know that they picked up a quarterback recently, but I feel like Garoppolo is still in play here, and especially if you're able to give up a pick. So what the 49ers gave up there, 61 and a quarterback for pick 20, I think that fits in with Pittsburgh's needs. Garoppolo fits in a system like what you see with Pittsburgh. So this makes a lot of sense for both parties. Garoppolo will be ready to go in time for training camp, and they'll have quarterbacks there in order to kind of lead that up before the process before they get there. So far, we have 2 picks for the 49ers. As we said, Tyler Linderbaum at 20, and then at number 95, D'Angelo Malone. Next up, at pick 105, the 49ers are going to go with one of their next big needs that they have when you look at this. For the 49ers, they have some definite needs when you get in this draft. You have center, which we've already solved. You have guard. You have cornerback, specifically in the slot. You have some safety needs as well. So when we get to the 49ers pick at number 105, the 49ers are going to select cornerback Cordell Flott out of Louisiana State University. Flott has primarily played in the slot during his time with the Tigers. He's played in 34 games over his 3-year career. And during that time, it's almost primarily been out of the slot. He's had some snaps on the edge, but mostly in the slot. Last season, his third season there at LSU, he had his only interception. But he's done a good job as far as the lack of targets and the passer rating that he's allowed. Only a 73.3 last year, 23 receptions on 45 targets, the 1 interception. Not targeted a lot during his time with the Tigers. Only 45 targets in 2021 and 2020. And then he only had 25 his first year there, when he gave up a passer rating of 52.4. Flott is another one of those players that the 49ers, I should have mentioned that earlier as well when we were looking at Malone, but both Malone and Flott are players that the 49ers have had discussions with and brought in for their top 30 visits. So those are a couple of players that they're pretty familiar with, and they've shown some interest in both of those. And then we move forward to round number 4 at pick number 134. The 49ers go ahead and they pull a little bit of a trick on us here. They go wide receiver, and they take Kyle Phillips out of UCLA. Phillips is one of the top rated slot receivers in this draft. There's been a lot of comparisons with the receiver down from the Rams, Cooper Kupp. So I don't know if I would go that far, but when you watch him play, he's very good in the slot. That's pretty much only place that he plays, and he's done a very good job in that role for the Bruins over the last 3 years. If you go and you look at his numbers just from this year alone, he put up Phillips this season had 59 receptions, 739 yards, and a total of 10 touchdowns. And with a new quarterback taking over, the 49ers do have a need to, I think, try to build up that receiver room. The nice part about this draft and the way that this one's been structured is the 49ers are able to not have to move off of Deebo Samuel. They keep Deebo Samuel. They still get into the first round, and they pick up another receiver that they can have for 3 to 4 years that doesn't really interfere with anything that they get out of Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, their top two. Then they have a pretty good big slot receiver in Juwan Jennings. And then here with Kyle Phillips, he gives the 49ers a little bit more of a shifty slot receiver, somebody that the 49ers, I think they were trying to get when they when they first started with this current regime. So Kyle Phillips will be the pick for the 49ers at pick number 134 in round 4. And that slides us down to pick number the trading is done at this point. We're just going to be running through the remainder of the picks. Remember, no, if the 49ers did pick up a pick in round 5 at 174, but they have their own pick still at 172. And with that pick at 172, the 49ers select halfback Brian Robinson Jr. from Alabama. Robinson is a punishing type of a back, a big guy who is that's a position of need for the 49ers, is a big bruising running back that can get them those short yardage, get them into the end zone from up close. They already have a couple of good backs coming back in Elijah Mitchell. Trey Sermon's going to be an interesting one to see how he performs, but I think you're going to see what we're going to see is Trey Sermon is going to show some improvement with Trey Lance taking over as the quarterback. There's a good mesh between, I think, what the skill sets of those two players. And so I think we're going to see some things out of Trey Sermon this year. And the pick of Brian Robinson is really geared towards maybe taking over that role of Jeff Wilson Jr. as your kind of pounding back. That's what his role was. That's the type of back that he is. But he did put up some good numbers during his time with Alabama. Robinson, he had to sit behind. He had to sit for a couple of years there, but at the same time, this last season he did a very good job for the Crimson Tide, and was over 1,300 yards, bunch of touchdowns, can catch the ball in the backfield as well. So he's a good fit for the 49ers, and we see him gone off the board at 172. Now that brings us up to pick number 174. This is the pick that they received from the Bengals in that trade earlier on, towards the end of round 3 when they made the trade back before picking D'Angelo Malone. And at pick 174, the 49ers add a guard with a lot of athleticism. Another player that the 49ers have shown already expressed interest in, and that's going to be Jason Poe, the guard out of Mercer. Now, Poe is a little bit of an undersized guard, extremely athletic, runs under 4.5 in the 40. Under 5 seconds, under four. I think he runs about a 4.9 40. And this is a guy who can move. If you've seen the videos of him, he looks like a fullback when he's running around on the field in some of his workout videos and things. So there's the pick for the 49ers. There, another piece that does is that actually gives them more depth along the line. I don't know if you'll see him necessarily be part of their plans for 2022, but it plays into more of the plans down into 2023 and beyond. The future of Mike McGlinchey up in the air a little bit. He's entering this season on a 5th-year option, coming off of a quad injury. McGlinchey says he feels good. He says that it's not a prove-it year, but I have a hard time believing that the 49ers don't feel that it's a little bit of a prove-it year for McGlinchey. And so you get Poe in here, and that would allow them, the 49ers, to groom him, possibly to take over that right guard spot next year, and then also sliding Jalen Moore over to right tackle if that's the direction that they end up moving. Also with Poe, he has the ability to play center as well. So that ability to move around, play different spots along the offensive line, pretty much in your interior at guard, maybe in a little bit center, that'd be a good move for the 49ers. They're just the athleticism that he brings is the big piece for me there. Now we slide to round 6. You're probably wondering where the safeties are, and that's where we come up here at pick number 187. This is the 49ers pick at 187. San Francisco 49ers select safety Leon O'Neal Jr. out of Texas A&M. This is a little bit of a reach for O'Neal. He's going to be somebody that's probably going to be closer to the 200 range, in the 210s is where he really should go. 49ers are going to, but with the way that their board sets up, not having another pick until 220 and 221, time for a little bit of a reach here. The nice piece about O'Neal is O'Neal has a lot of athleticism, brings a lot of things to the 49ers that are similar to what they've had with Jaquiski Tartt. He has that ability to play up and around the line in the box, as well as to play deeper if necessary and be a little bit more of a single high safety. So O'Neal at that spot is a good pick for the 49ers. When you look at his positioning during his time at Texas A&M, primarily as a deep player, usually anywhere between 212 to 489 snaps from the deep spot. But he also plays in the box about 191 times this last year in 2021. Played in the slot a little bit, moved around. This is a guy who's extremely versatile, can do multiple things, and will be a good fit with this team to push Talanoa Hufanga forward and possibly even slide into the role that Jimmy Ward currently has if the 49ers decide not to bring Ward back. So there's your safety going to the 49ers at pick number 187, Leon O'Neal out of Texas A&M. Let me take a look at the comments really quick. Yeah, there we go. Yep, Levine likes that pick. He likes the O'Neal pick. So we've got O'Neal there. And then we're going to move on to pick number 220. And this might be a little bit of a surprise to folks. We're still here at the end of round 6. This is one of the comp picks for the 49ers. And at pick 220, the 49ers are going to go back to the secondary once again. They've already picked up a cornerback that's going to be in the slot. Now they're going to be picking up an outside corner. And this one is coming, not going to have to travel very far to get up to San Francisco. But it's going to be cornerback Deron Bland out of Fresno State. When you look at the numbers that Bland put up at Fresno State, pretty impressive when overall. The passer rating that he allowed was pretty low for the most part when you look at his numbers. This is a guy who really fits in well with what the 49ers try to do with their cornerbacks. And right now, when you look at the 49ers cornerback room, they are somewhat limited in terms of how long these guys are going to be around for. Emmanuel Mosley is entering the final year of his contract. There's no guarantee that he's going to be back. Ambry Thomas would be expected probably to step in at that spot down the road. But, and then you also have Travarius Ward at the other side. But this particular selection for the 49ers with Bland, he's a nice he's a big corner, 6'2", 200 pounds over the primarily, like I said, he's an outside corner. Last year, he gave up a passer rate of only 63.2, allowed only 21 receptions on 50 targets for 274 yards. He gave up, he had 2 interceptions last season. He did allow 3 touchdowns. This is more of a developmental pick, not something that you would expect him to go move into the starting lineup, but somebody that they can fill in and groom for down the road. Hey, Andrew, good to have you on board with us. And then really quick, so that moves us on to pick number 221. And I think this is going to be a pick that's going to make Lee really happy. So at pick number 221, the 49ers decide that they need to help themselves out. They've already made a bunch of moves in this area throughout this offseason and free agency. And at pick number 221, the 49ers select punter Matt Araiza from San Diego State. And this is a pick that's really geared towards a couple of different things. Araiza does have a pretty good leg. He's a lefty, can really boom the punts. But more than anything, this one is for Araiza's ability to kick off. As a member of the Aztecs, he was able to put a number of his kickoffs into the end zone. So he's a big time player for that reason. He's been dubbed the punt god, and definitely, like I said, a really strong punter. But more than that, the big thing that you get with Araiza is, like I said, that ability to kick the ball out of the end zone. I think the numbers that I saw was something like 62 out of 72 kickoffs went for touchbacks. That would be huge for the 49ers if they could force their allow their defense to be able to take the field at the 25. If you can get Araiza there at 221, that would be a perfect pick, perfect spot for the 49ers. Wishnowski's been good. Araiza will be better, particularly for that ability to kick the ball into the end zone on the kickoffs and really force teams to have to start further back. The 49ers have not been good in that space for the last couple of years. And so Araiza just kind of fits in with the whole 49ers movement this season in the offseason to go out and improve their special teams. So Araiza for the 49ers at 221. And that brings us to the last pick of the draft, Mr. Irrelevant in round number 7. That's right. The 49ers are going to get that last pick in the draft, 262. And at 262, the 49ers are going to go with a quarterback out of Iowa State, Brock Purdy. Purdy's a developmental guy. You know, the 49ers, they've already, through this draft, as you saw, they lost Jimmy Garoppolo in a trade with Pittsburgh to pick up that pick at number 20, which went for Tyler Linderbaum. The 49ers do have Trey Lance. That's their quarterback of the future. He's going to be the guy for the long term. On top of that, you have Nate Sudfeld, who when you look at Nate Sudfeld, he's got a $2 million contract. He's going to be a member of the 49ers this season. And the big piece with Sudfeld, and I think part of the reason the 49ers like him so much, is that Trey Lance really gets along well with Nate Sudfeld. In a couple different interviews that Trey Lance has done this offseason, he's talked about how much he learned over this last season about being a pro, really from Nate Sudfeld. He brings him up more as helping him than Jimmy Garoppolo. He doesn't talk bad about Garoppolo, but when it comes to guys that he's gone to for learning and getting better and those types of things, it's always come back the times that I've heard him talk to Nate Sudfeld. So I think that's part of why they kept him. And so then going with, like I said here, for the 49ers, they go ahead and they get Brock Purdy. You know, Purdy had he's a mobile guy who kind of fits in with what the 49ers have at their primary quarterback spot. And Purdy might be able to develop into a backup, but if not, he'd be a solid third quarterback and scout team player. Might not make the roster, probably would end up on the scout team. That's an important role for the 49ers. Really, any team is to have a good scout team quarterback if you can. And maybe they can get something out of him down the road and develop him into a quarterback that can be a backup in a year or two. So there you have it, everybody. Just to kind of go back through the draft really quick. Started off, the 49ers making a trade with Pittsburgh, sending Jimmy Garoppolo and pick 61 to the Steelers. And in return, the 49ers get pick 20. So they get into the first round at pick 20. They also get a fourth round selection in 2023. And with that pick at number 20, the 49ers selected Tyler Linderbaum, the center from Iowa. Then with their pick at number 93, the 49ers traded back 2 spots with Cincinnati to get pick number 95. And in that transaction, they also pick up a pick in round 5, number 174. In round 3 at 95, they select D'Angelo Malone, edge rusher from Western Kentucky. Round 3 at pick 105, this is their comp pick. They go with Louisiana State University cornerback Cordell Flott. Again, Flott is a slot corner, so fills a need there for the 49ers. At 134, they get a little off track, but this is a position that helps Trey Lance. And they go wide receiver, Kyle Phillips from UCLA. 172, round 5, Brian Robinson Jr., running back, Alabama. 174, round 5, Jason Poe from Mercer. Round 6, 187, Leon O'Neal, safety, Texas A&M. Pick 220 in round 6, Deron Bland, cornerback, Fresno State. Pick 221 of round 6, Matt Araiza, punter, San Diego State. And last but not least, pick number 262, round number 7, Brock Purdy from Iowa State. So there we go. Yes, I understand Andrew Flott is a smaller guy, and then that's going to be an issue for him. He's going to have to put on a little weight, but he's a good cover slot guy. So we'll see how that works out for the 49ers. They have some other players in there that can fill in right now. I think that Flott's a guy who, might not start right away, but would have time down the road. So we'll see how that works out for them. And according to the mock draft calculator that I was using, 49ers breakdown says he's going to give me a B, pretty solid overall. I got an A- from the group that put together the mock draft calculator, so I'll take it. I'll take your B though. I like that. I like the B, the A-. They're pretty close. I'm not worried about my GPA, so I'll take your B and say thank you for that, and tell me that it was solid overall. I was a little nervous about how it would be received. So, KW 2421, the second pick, that was D'Angelo Malone from Western Kentucky, the edge. The 49ers did not have their pick at 61 because they used that pick as part of the Jimmy Garoppolo trade with Pittsburgh in terms of to receive pick number 20, in which they were able to get their center of the future in Linderbaum. So there you go. I know you've seen all the other mock drafts. This is the one tomorrow night when the 49ers pick Linderbaum at number 20. We can all come back on here and celebrate. If not, I will duck and know that I was wrong, like I usually am when it comes to these mock drafts. These are tough to do. And Raphael 5629ers, I appreciate it. You said good mock draft, Jack. Thank you very much. And with that, I want to say thank you to all of you for tuning in tonight. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. Take it easy tomorrow. Get ready for the draft. And remember, Deebo Samuel will be a 49er in 2022. You've heard it here many times on this channel. Still believe that to be the case. We'll find out for sure all together tomorrow. I feel like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen before the first round goes down tomorrow. So let's see how it all works out. Thank you all for joining. If you could do me a favor before you leave, click that like button, subscribe if you're already subscribed, hit the little bell notification so that you don't miss any of the shows when we go live, and then also get yourselves over to 49ers.pressdemocrat.com for all of my writing. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your night.